all, while simultaneously trashing the royals and the monarchy to preserve their exposure and relevance. I think it's time we brought the Sussex circus to a formal end. Conservative MP Bob Seeley is now introducing a bill in Parliament to strip them formally of their titles. The Duke and Duchess can be Mr and Mrs like the rest of us, he said. Someone doesn't want to be a royal, that's a decision we respect. They shouldn't keep the titles and privileges if they trash an institution that plays an important part in our nation's life. I think he's right. And as he also says, the baseless racism claims that are now embroiled the King and Princess of Wales, well, they should be the final straw, shouldn't they? The author behind those damning claims, who claims he wasn't the author behind those damning claims, but who else could he have been the author of those damning claims, given it was in the manuscript of his own book in which these damning claims were made? Sussex lab dog Omid Scobie is still tying himself in the web of his own lies.
Yeah, what a series of events, right? And what a frustrating experience for me for a book that was so heavily vetted, legaled, I's dotted, T's crossed, and a book that I was extremely proud of, now completely overshadowed by an event that has caused me a lot of frustration as well. We have a full investigation going on into this series of events that happened.
Yeah, I know you're frustrated, buddy, but imagine how frustrated King Charles is, or the Princess of Wales, that somehow they got called racists in a manuscript you claim you didn't actually draft that way. That's frustrating, isn't it? When the entire world is encouraged to think that you were named as racists. Little bit more frustrating than you not being able to work out why a draft of your own book appeared in the Netherlands and was translated from a copy that had the names on it that was sent to them apparently by your agent. How did your agent get that if you didn't write it? Does your agent write your books, Omid? Well, The Times has reported, like I said, that earlier version of the book did contain the names and it was sent to the Dutch publisher. Harry and Meghan have stood by in stunning silence. So unlike them, isn't it? When private conversations of the kind that Meghan had with Charles in private letters began to circulate in this book as well, containing the names of the two people that she and Harry claim were racially insensitive about the potential skin colour of their baby. Now, these two can't normally wait to set the record straight, to sue, to go to court, to hold people to proper account for invasion of private correspondence or conversations. Why aren't they doing it now? They claim that they had nothing to do with Omid Scobie's new book. But you might remember Meghan claiming that about his last book. And then a strange thing happened. She was suing a newspaper, ironically, for invading her privacy over private correspondence. Rather similar to the situation we find ourselves in here. And when it came to the court case, after the book had been published that she had nothing to do with, she was forced to apologise because it turned out that not only had she had something to do with it, she'd given briefing notes to her aide to go to a meeting with Omid Scobie and brief him for the book. So she was a primary source for that book. So I don't know what you make of the silence from the Sussexes. We're into nearly week 2 now of a deafening, damning silence. Weird, right? Well, the question of whether they should keep their titles, in my view, comes down to this. And it's that if you're going to spark a race row, if you're going to accuse 2 senior members of our royal family of being racists, and if you're going to then deliberately not say the names for 2 years, so the whole world speculates over which member of this white supremacist family was racist, tarring them all with the brush. If you're going to do that, and then calmly, as Harry did at the start of this year, suddenly go, oh, we didn't mean to say they were racist. No, this was unconscious bias. That thing when someone isn't racist, but someone says they were thinking it. It was that. But we all know what we heard on Oprah. And in my view, they made their racial charge bed, and they now should lie in it. And you can't accuse the king of this country or the wife of our future king of this country of being racist, and in my opinion, keep the royal titles that you've been so cynically fleecing for the last 4 years. Or maybe you can. Let's have a debate about this. Journalist Rachel Johnson Talk TV contributor Paula Rowan-Adrian, associate editor at The Mirror, Kevin Maguire, and the author and historian Sir Anthony Selden. So a fantastically high-powered panel tonight. Sir Anthony, let me start with you. Purely kind of constitutionally, historically, is it even possible to wrestle the titles away from them?
Well, I'm sure it is, Piers. The question is it all worth it? And is it going to be what they want because it just makes them more out to be victims of these hateful, exploitative people in Buckingham Palace? Wouldn't it just be better just to let them be forgotten and not to react? Because by reacting, by doing this, the Bob Seeley idea, I think it just makes them into victims, gives them even more publicity. There they are over all the world's headlines again as people. There must be some truth, surely, in what they're both saying. And I think that is not the right way to handle it. They're both clearly two very, very damaged people. They need help. I don't think they need stripping their royal titles.
See, I would question that. I would say they're very damaging people. I'm not saying they haven't been through damage.
They're that too, Piers.
But I think they've set out to be deliberately damaging to the royal family and the monarchy. They've taken hundreds of millions of dollars to do it. It is unprecedented in history for two renegade royals to go off and enrich themselves, making money out of targeting the royal family, isn't it? We've never seen this before.
It's not almost unprecedented, Piers. It is unprecedented for two members of the royal family deliberately to set out to hurt, harm, belittle, besmirch the monarch and the wife of the heir to the throne. That's unprecedented. Of course it's damaging, but of course the damaging action comes out of damaged people. The question is, I think, just what's the best way to do it? And I think best way to deal with it is not to give them the oxygen of even more entitlement to the claim of being victims.
OK, Rachel Johnson, your view.
Well, Sir Anthony, as ever, as an eminent historian, has put the argument for killing with kindness. And don't give the grifters any more grist to the mill.
But the grifters make most of their money because they have royal titles.
Of course
the American business model collapses if they're just plain Harry and Meghan. Not immediately, but it would over time. If they can't slap all over all their correspondence that they're the Duke and Duchess, it disappears.
Possibly, that remains to be seen. We do not know that. It could definitely give them another leg on their, grievance tour. I want to know, I mean, Bob Seeley, who is the liege man of life and limb, who's, withdrawn the flaming scabbard to defend the monarchy, and he's inserted this bill, this private members bill, which is called something like the Disinheritance of Titles Bill 1917. It must be in your notes.
Yeah.
So my question is...
And it's been, just to be clear, it's been used before to remove the titles of His Royal Highness Charles Edward, Duke of Albany, Earl of Clarence, Baron Arklow, His Royal Highness Ernest Augustus, the Duke of Cumberland, and Teviot Dale, and Earl of Armagh, and so on. This has been used a lot.
But wasn't it mainly used to strip Germans of their titles in 1917? But the curious irony is, if you took the title Duke of Sussex away from Prince Harry, he'd be Harry Mountbatten, which is a German surname. Anyway, so I'm sure he wouldn't like it. I think, so the question is, who has the right to strip these royals of their titles? Is it the House of Commons or is it the Queen? If she took away Princess Diana's HRH, which caused Princess Diana...
Which I campaigned for her not to do, by the way.
Huge upset and hurt. That was a terrible wound for Princess Diana. This would no doubt be a terrible wound for Harry and Meghan, because the royals, their titles is who they are.
You know, the difference about Diana was she never attacked the monarchy. She had her issues with her ex-husband. But I campaigned at the Mirror to stop her HRH being taken away, because I knew how much it hurt, because she told me, and because it was only taken away because she was deemed to no longer be married to Charles, right? But she didn't attack the monarchy, Paula. And here's the difference between what Diana used to do and what these two are doing. It's their deliberate diminishing and the relentless attacks on the family and the monarchy that I really find offensive now. And I don't understand why, if you're going to attack the institution this much and you hate the family this much, why would you want to, A, stay a member of that family, or B, keep titles bestowed on you by the monarchy and the family.
I appreciate that you find it personally offensive, Piers, but shall I tell you what I find concerning? That in this discussion about racism, we know that the institution has issues. We know that in 2021, we were supposed to see the appointment of a diversity czar, and I'm still waiting for that appointment.
What is a diversity czar?
Well, we can discuss that another day. Let me finish.
Title,
well, Piers, this is important. This is important.
The royal family employ a lot more non-white people.
You don't want to hear it, Piers,
hang on.
do you?
You
don't want to hear.
It's a fact that they employ a lot more non-white people than they used to. Right? It's also a fact they remain exclusively white, other than the Meghan Markle part of it, because they're all a white family.
Piers, don't shut me down on this point, because this is important for us to
You're
discuss.
distracting away from the alleged racism in this story. Trevor Phillips, who ran the big...
Do you see what's happening here?
No, I'm asking you a question about this particular topic.
I haven't finished answering your first
You're
question.
talking about other things.
I'm not talking about other things. I'm talking about exactly what you're referencing, the allegation of racism, and why it's important for for society as a whole, for us to see that the institution is dealing with this. And I'm saying to you, where is the diversity czar?
What racism?
That we were...
What racism?
Where is the diversity czar that we were told was going to be appointed in 2021? We were told that this was such an important thing and that it was going to happen.
Where's the racism,
because
Paula?
of the concerns...
Paula, where is the racism?
The concerns that Meghan had.
Yeah,
that's what was reported.
What concerns?
Secondly...
She didn't even hear it.
We've also
she
had
didn't even hear it.
reports...
And by the way, she thought it happened when she was pregnant. Harry said it happened before they got engaged.
Shouting me down is not going to change the fact that I'm concerned. So we also have reports, don't we, about issues in relation to how the institution approaches the concerns about racism.
What racism?
We've had unfortunate stories where I accept there was an apology, but it left a concern, didn't it, when, for example, Princess Markle attended the dinner wearing her brooch that caused
upset. Do you honestly believe that Charles and Kate were racist about that baby's skin colour?
We know about the issue in relation to how Lady Hussey and how that was dealt with. Right. And what I'm saying to you is that there are concerns that have been raised. And it seems,
we know about the concerns that were raised. What I haven't seen is any evidence.
We want to deflect those concerns by pouring hatred on Harry and Meghan.
No, they're the ones...
That's what this is about. This is about hatred of Harry and Meghan.
How could you pour more hatred over people than these two, who for 4 years have poured hatred on their family and the monarchy, and who did it by sparking a racism row on Oprah Winfrey in front of 50 million people, where they made allegations of racism and then tried to pretend they hadn't. They've never produced any evidence. I mean, Kevin, this is my issue with this whole thing, and it does incense me that we are trying to deal with a story which, at the heart of it, I don't think there's even a story. I don't think this ever happened. As Trevor Phillips said, at worst, what we may be dealing with is that someone in the royal family, Charles, Kate, whoever, may have said, I wonder what colour the baby might be. That's not racism.
No.
When you have a mixed-race relationship, it's what every mixed-race relationship family would ask themselves.
Why do we keep leaving out the word concerns? Why do we keep leaving that word out?
Because what are the concerns?
I read Trevor Phillips' account because he's a black Briton who's long campaigned against racism. There are problems with the institution, but Meghan Markle's evidence wouldn't stand up in court because it was hearsay. It's something she said.
Racism allegations often don't.
No, but it's hearsay. She hasn't heard it directly. But of course they should be stripped of those titles. And I think Harry's grandmother, the Queen, made a mistake not taking them away. I think his father, Charles, now the King, has made a mistake not taking them away. They said they wanted to start a new life.
Yeah.
But that new life actually requires them to have those titles.
Correct.
Because their meal ticket is trashing the royal family.
I'm intrigued that the failure wasn't in about talking. The failure wasn't in about resolving the problem.
What I love is that you still believe there was racism. When even Trevor Phillips said it's obviously not.
Be very careful. I have never said that I could believe it because I don't know.
Right.
So we need to be very careful.
You don't think it should be incumbent on those who made the allegations to actually say what happened? Why are they silent in the last week?
I think what's intriguing is that you have asked them to be silent for so long and now you are demanding that they speak. If they do
I'm demanding that they clarify why their author, the boy they cooperated with on the last book, why he's able to name Harry's father, right, and his sister-in-law as two racists, and they say nothing. They say nothing.
Do you think that if you continue to shout me down...
I think you've got to answer some questions, Paula. At some stage,
if
you have
allowed me to...
You literally are behaving like a politician.
If you allowed me to. If you allowed me to. The fact is, should they respond to this? Absolutely they should respond to this. Should King Charles and Kate have an opportunity to respond to it? Absolutely. Do you know what I would like to see in terms of a response? I would like to see a joint response. I would like them to come together and send out a joint response.
They don't talk to each other.
Well, then they need to find somebody who does.
Then
they need to find somebody who does, because this isn't unusual, Piers. The fact that this is a fallout in a family is not unusual.
Meghan Markle...
Yes, racial.
Kevin wants them to be stripped of their titles. Bob Seeley wants them to be stripped of their titles.
I want them to be stripped of their titles.
You do. The fact remains that you could strip them of the title Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but you cannot remove the fact that he is a prince of the blood.
You can stop